Hello, Siân and Ryan. How are you doing today?
Really good, really good.
Yes, it's Friday.
It is, yeah,
Yes.
and it's. I'm coming off the back of being ill for 2 weeks,
Oof.
and I'm actually feeling better for the first time in 2 weeks. I actually feel good. So so it's a good day. It's a good
day.
Yeah, you're done with that gastritis, or
Yes. Yeah, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. It was one of the, I've had a bad couple of weeks, to be honest. I had we were talking about it on our podcast. It was about 7-8 weeks ago. I fell in work, hurt my back, and I was off work for a bit. A few weeks after that, I got COVID, and then I was off work for a little bit, and then I got the flu, and then it's been, and I'm not a sickly person, but the last few weeks has been a horrible. Yeah,
it's been worse for me.
and why is that?
Because I'm no Florence. I'm not a Florence Nightingale. I can't. Am I saying that right? Nightingale.
Yes. Nightingale. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just not a very good nurse. You know, all the illness and stuff. Because I don't get ill very often. It's very, very rare that I get ill, isn't it?
I concur. Siân is not very good at looking after you when you're ill.
Terrible.
I enjoyed, as you said, how strong you are and how weak Ryan is. That's always a good way to.
Well, you know, someone's got to be.
But Ryan, you had the trifecta of illnesses or injury, illness. So I think you're clear for the rest of the year. So.
I would hope so. Even though there's only 2 months of the year left, let's hope I'm done for the next at least 12 months. I think I'm done with all of that. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, you've done the heavy lifting in the immune system battle over here. So hopefully you do. For anybody that is tuning in right now and they are not aware of who Siân and Ryan are, with their many awards winning pod and show. For everybody out there, if you want to do it individually or as a group, however you wish, who is Siân and who is Ryan?
Okay, what do you want to know? Well, I'm Siân. I'm 41. I'm married to Ryan. We've got a little boy, not so little anymore actually, he's 11. We started our podcast back in August 2022, and it's just been a journey, hasn't it?
It has. It was one of them because I went to my first Wrexham game in 1989, so I'm 42 now. So I must have been 7 or 8, maybe, I'd say. I guess. Sacrilege. I don't actually remember what my first game was. I don't remember who the opponents were or anything. But I know it was in 1989. So I've been going for years and years and years. Me and Siân have been together for 13 years.
Correct. Well done.
Thank you. Siân's never been interested in football, ever. I just wasn't interested in any aspect of football. And then a couple of years ago, her brother comes to the games with us, and he had a season ticket, same as me and my dad and our son. And he wasn't able to come because he wasn't well. So Siân said, I'll come along. And it was just after the whole Rob and Ryan takeover, quite a bit after actually, a few months after the takeover. Yeah. And Siân will not, she won't mind me saying this. She came along purely because she thought she might see Ryan Reynolds.
It's not entirely true.
It is. Let's be honest. That's the reason you came. And then she came along. She just fell in love with all of it, And it was Siân's idea to start a podcast. So she was going, wouldn't it be really cool to, we've got a lot of new fans because of Rob and Ryan. They're going on a journey of not just being new to Wrexham, but new to football in the same way that Siân is. So we thought it's quite niche because a lot of football podcasts, not just Wrexham podcasts, but football podcasts, they're very much a bunch of men sitting round who've been watching football for 30, 40, 50 years and, profess to know everything about the game. And Siân was quite unapologetic about, I don't know anything about football, I'm learning. And it was the same for a lot of people from America or Canada. They'd fallen in love with the story, but didn't necessarily understand the game itself. So they we're more popular in America than we are in the UK, which I don't think was really a big shock to us because of that very reason. Really, there was so many sort of Americans, Canadians who were brand new to football as well as Wrexham that they wanted to come on that journey with Siân. Siân's the USP. She is very much the unique selling point of the podcast, I would
and
say.
I came up with the name as well, so it's literally I am the driving force behind this podcast.
Yeah.
Doing all the heavy lifting. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theme that is forming already early on. There's a theme that's forming.
Yes.
And Siân, you are the strength. You're the pillar of the relationship, the community. Ryan, what do you do again? I forgot.
I'm just here. I'm just here. I just turn up and do things. But...
Yeah, he does as he's told, basically.
Siân, do you remember that match? Who was playing that you went to?
Was it Torquay?
I think it was Torquay.
It was the Torquay game.
No, it wasn't. No, because I think the Torquay... Was it Torquay?
Where we absolutely smashed them.
It might have been,
Yeah, it was. It was the Torquay game. And, I mean, what a game.
No, it wasn't. No, sorry. I'm jumping in. We beat Torquay 6-0 last season. But the season before that was the game where Rob and Ryan came to the racecourse for the first time. And Torquay equalised really late on in the game.
I wasn't at that game.
And you weren't at that game, and you came after that. So I don't know what your first game was.
I can't remember, to be honest.
No, I'm not sure.
But it was a good game.
There's a running theme here as well. I mean, I know mine was 1989, but I can't remember who the first game was either. Siân's is a lot more recent. I feel like she should know who that game was, but I don't remember either.
I don't remember what game it was, but all I remember is just watching the lads playing, going, oh my God, why haven't I got involved in this sooner? This is just, because it was obviously a packed out stadium. I was with Ryan, I was with our son, and it was just, I don't know, I still to this day can't explain how I was feeling. But as soon as I came out of there, I was like, right, I want to go again. Let's go, and then, I mean, not lucky, but because my brother was still poorly, so I got to go to a few more games, didn't I? And we went to a few away games as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was just... It was probably the Ryan and Rob thing, but I think as well, it was because on a Saturday, Ryan and Alfie, our son, and his dad, and my brother would go to watch the football. And I'd be like, well, what am I going to do with myself on a Saturday? I know, I'll go shopping, I'll go spend some money. But then I thought, no, I want to, because, we work full time. We don't see, Ryan works shifts, Alfie goes to school, so we don't all do things as a family during the week because it's just impossible. So I just thought, you know what, this going to the football on a Saturday is the perfect resolution. I get to see you, I get to spend time with Alfie, and now I get to watch the club that I absolutely love. So it's kind of it's.
I never thought she'd get into it, to be honest. She's never interested, and I never thought it would be something that she'd want to do week in, week out. But here we are, and you do. So
I do. Well, when Ryan was poorly, I said to him, if you don't go to the football, I'm still going to go. I absolutely love it. I can't remember which my first game was, but I just remember falling in love with it the very first time.
Before or after you started the podcast, did any of your guys' views or connection to the team change? Where did you become more diehard, or if you see how the magic is done and the sausage is made, does that take away from any of the game? Or
I don't know really. No, not really. It's sort of like, for me, I was always the sort of fan from 1989 right the way up until when Rob and Ryan took over. I was the fan who used to say to my dad, right, what games are we going to go to this season? So I never had a season ticket, ever. I because there was no need. It was a 10,000 seater stadium, and we used to get between 2,500 and 4,500 there. So you could literally, you pick and choose. I could pick and choose what games I wanted to go to. Especially when I was in sort of between 18 and 25. Saturdays with the boys, isn't it? You go have a drink and you do all that. And do you really want to go and watch a team who aren't really playing very well? Nah, it's all right. We'll go on. So it was one. I was very much like that. And then there were seasons when I used to go to, I might go to 15 to 20 home games in a season, but there were definitely other seasons where I might only go to 5 or 6 home games over the period. And then when Rob and Ryan took over, it was very much a case for me of, I said to my dad, we're not going to be able to do this anymore. But there's not a chance that we're going to be able to pick and choose what games we want to go to. We're going to have to go all in or nothing, because if we don't get a season ticket now, we're not going to get to watch this club very much anymore. And I think so. It's sort of that coincided with the podcast as well. So we would go into every game at that point. Then the podcast started. So you do sort of, in answer to the question, you do become a bit more diehard because you're there all the time, as opposed to you're picking out 10, 12, 13 games that you want to go and see in a season. You're there for the whole journey through the whole season. And it helps when they're playing well as well, doesn't it? That definitely helps,
Good content.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yeah, because there's been some grim times. There really has been some grim times when you're playing teams that, no disrespect, I'm not going to name teams and be disrespectful to them, but there's teams that we've played over the years that you sort of look at and you go, how are we losing to these? How are we losing to this team at home? When we've been quite a decent big club, in the past, we've been, a lot higher in the league, and we're losing to, I keep wanting to say teams, but like I say, I'm not going to say, but it's, it has been quite dire and desperate at times. And I think Rob and Ryan taking over is just, I think it just shows, because it's not all about money. It's just about getting the community to buy into a story, to buy into something and go, do you know what? If they believe it, we believe it. Come on, let's go. Let's all go on this journey together. And that sounds a bit fairy tale, but that's what it is, really. It's about getting 10,000 people in if you've got 10,000 seats, get 10,000 people in there, and and then let's see where that takes you. Because I think having a full stadium makes such a difference to any team, regardless of what players you've got in there. Compared to a half full stadium, I think that spurs any team on. And I think, yes, we have invested, but I do think we'd still be doing pretty well as long as you have a full support of the town behind you. Yeah,
for sure. And Sean, for you, did it change from doing the podcast to after?
Well, I started going in the 21-22 season, didn't I?
Full time.
And we started the podcast, obviously, like I said, in August 2022. So I think we had that kind of period where we would just go into the games. We weren't doing a podcast about it, so it was purely just to go and watch the lads play. Like Ryan said, it probably has made me a bit more diehard because we literally live and breathe, don't we, Wrexham Football Club, because obviously we go to the games on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and as many away games as we can get tickets for, and then we do our podcast on a Sunday, and I'm constantly posting on social media about news, things that are coming out, and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of like,
it's a bit weird. It's a bit different for you, isn't it? Because it's like you had such a short period between coming to the games. You've definitely had more time going to the games and doing a podcast than you did coming to the games and not doing a podcast. So you had quite a short period where you fell in love really quickly. You're that girl, aren't you, who goes on one date and you're in love, and then
is this the story? Is this how it happened?
One game, in love with a club, right full speed. But
Yeah.
then the podcast came quite soon after that for you, didn't it?
It was. I think we wanted to start the podcast in the 21-22 season, but because it was kind of so far into the season, it didn't seem like it was the right time to do it.
So we started it right at the start.
Yeah, so
of the,
our first episode was on the 1st of August. I think it was for the first game of the 22-23 season.
Yes.
And yeah, I still can't express just how much this whole thing means to us. It's just such a...
Yeah.
It's definitely... I mean, we were close anyway, but it's definitely brought us closer as, a husband and wife. As, Ryan and I are best friends, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah.
As well as being a married couple. So it's it's definitely brought us closer together. And the conversations that we used to have were really random, but now they're football. And, on a Saturday, even if Wrexham aren't playing, for some reason, there's a, this weekend, no, they are playing this weekend.
Yeah.
For any reason why they're not playing, we will watch we'll watch highlights, or we'll watch,
something.
We'll watch
something
anything
else,
football related. So,
which is great.
Yeah, I think I'm the perfect wife. I think
now you are, yeah. but the thing is, I think we've fallen in love with podcasting as well.
Yeah,
because we really enjoy it, and we didn't really think we would. To be honest, it was sort of something we go, yeah, all right, we'll give it a go. But we've started a second podcast now as well, so we do two. So we do one on a Sunday, well, releases on a Monday, which is me, the wife, and Wrexham AFC. But we've started a second one, which is it's called For Better For Worse. So that's it's just about us, that one. There's no football involved in that one, but we started that one just as a bit of fun to do that, and then we're sort of thinking, oh, could we do another one? But I think it's just so we do really I think I just like talking a lot, and I think podcasting and YouTube is perfect for that. You don't. I hate silences. And so it's Sian always shouts at me during the podcast going, oh, I can never get a word in. I'm like, yeah, but you can't have silence on a podcast. So if there's silence, I will literally jump into it. So
I have to give a signal if I want to speak in the podcast, because otherwise it would just be me and Wrexham AFC. I wouldn't even be involved because he's so...
What's the signal? What is the...
Taps me.
I tap it. No, I squeeze his leg.
Yeah, I know.
Because you can't see that, obviously, on the podcast. So
yes.
I squeeze his leg, and I think I think the first time I did it, I think you just thought I was touching you up, didn't you?
I didn't know what she was doing. We were interviewing an ex-Wrexham player called Neil Roberts, and we interviewed him, and she kept squeezing my leg, and I didn't have a clue. It wasn't a predefined signal. I didn't know what she was doing, and I thought, what am I doing that she's doing that to me, that she's trying to get me to stop? That am I tapping my foot? What's happening?
No, so that is now the signal.
That is now the signal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if he doesn't listen to me, it gets squeezed harder until you get a word in. So yeah.
Yes.
Before you guys started the podcast, you were in the inception of, okay, we're going to make a podcast, we're going to release it. Was there any hurdles or anything that got in the way that you thought you might not do it, or put it off from releasing it when you did?
No, I don't think there was. I think we went to the football, we sat in our little now studio. It was my office when I worked from home, which now is not my office.
No.
We sat there and we thought, right, we'll just record it. We'll just sit here for an hour. No, stop it or anything. We'll just go straight through. And it worked. There wasn't any any hurdles or anything like that. It was literally, right, this is the documentary. This is the podcast. It's going out on a Monday. We'll release it and let's see what happens.
Yeah. I think so. I think all of our son has been into sort of YouTubers, like most sort of kids are these days. And when he was sort of 6, he was like, I want my own YouTube channel. And I was like, fine. So we helped him with that. And then I used to film all his videos, come up with ideas, film them, edit them. So over a period of a few years, all of my experience was with YouTube, with, recording videos, editing videos, all of the intricacies of YouTube. That was my experience for about 4 years before we started this. But I didn't know anything about a podcast. I didn't know how to do that. But we sort of cheated a little bit in the sense of what I said was, right, let's just film it as a YouTube video. And then what I will do is I will just strip the sound off that video, and then that's the podcast. There we go. I don't have to mess about with anything. I can literally, little bit of software, strip the sound off, and there's a podcast like that. So that's what we did, really. Yeah. We did it as a YouTube channel, and I just sort of cheated to take the sound off and use that as a podcast. And then we have people. But I'm not speaking ill of anybody who listens to us, but we have people who watch us and listen to us, even though it's exactly the same content. So they'll listen in the car, but then when they get the opportunity, they also watch the videos as well, which is great for us. Wow. We're getting double listens. That's fine. I'm more than happy with that. But then we obviously get people who prefer listening, and then other people who prefer watching the YouTube videos. It's all good for us. We're happy.
Absolutely.
Whatever people want to do, we're happy.
How's your son responded to the fame and glory of who his parents are?
Not interested at all.
We're just mum and dad who are embarrassing. Although, actually, when Alfie's in high school now, I'm not sure what grade that would be in America.
No, he's 11, turning 12 in January, so he's just started high school.
Yeah, so he's in year 7. But when he was in primary school, obviously the teachers and things knew that we did this podcast, and he used to, I think he was secretly proud, because he used to go in when we went to like parents' evening and things like that. The teacher used to say to us, "Oh yeah, when you've done like an interview on the radio or on the TV or whatever, he'll come in the next day and he'll say, oh look, my mum," and he'll get it up on Google or whatever and say, "Oh, my mum and dad did this." So I think secretly he is proud, but he's not really into football. I mean, he is getting more interested.
Yeah, he's not really. He's like, he likes coming to the games now and again. He would be much happier if the games were shorter.
Or inside.
Or inside. Yeah, he likes it to a point, and he will watch it a little bit, but then it's just... his interests lie elsewhere more than football. So, but with regards to us, he will claim to our face that he's embarrassed or he's not interested about our podcast and he doesn't care what we're doing. But then, like Siân says, when he was in school, he used to go, "My mum and dad do a podcast. Oh, look at them! They were interviewed on BBC Radio 2 or whatever," and he'll tell the teachers about all this. So yeah, he is very much one of them kids who would never admit that that he's quite proud, but he because to us he'd just go, "No, not interested.
I don't want any part of this." I think he's a secret super fan.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he watches them when we don't know.
When we started the second podcast, For Better For Worse, it's obviously about being married and family life and all that sort of thing. It's just a bit of fun, and we one of the episodes we wanted to talk about kids and family life, so we said to him, "Why don't you come on, you can have a little chat with us and we'll ask you some questions, you can be completely honest, you can say whatever you want." And he looked at us like, I don't know, he looked at us like we'd asked him to sleep in the mud outside. He was just like, no, I am not doing that, not a chance, not interested.
He's got his street cred to uphold,
that's it. He's getting to that age now where it's like, can't be seen hanging around with my mum and dad.
And how strange is that to, in Wrexham to have such prominent parents, but also try to be the cool kid that distance himself. It's like, hey, know who my parents are, but at the same time, I'm too cool for these people.
That's exactly what he's like. I think he's very much, he's sort of at that weird age now where he likes being noticed, but doesn't want to be noticed. It's what he's that sort of weird age. He wants people to know who he is, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be known for being our son. I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's like,
I think with his friends though, I think we are quite cool. You know, we've got.
I don't know about that.
I think we are.
But when we go to the games, especially at the racecourse, and we have people coming up to us and going, "Oh, we watched the show the other day," and have a little chat with us, we get people going, could we take a selfie with you? Or, we have things
That's
like...
still weird.
Yeah, that is still a little bit weird. But, things like that happen at the games. And if you catch it just right, if you look at our son when this happens, you just see him rolling his eyes, just going, oh,
here we go again.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his sort of true feelings are about it, because if we ask him, he'll just go, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Yeah,
God,
rubbish.
it's rubbish. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're cool parents though.
Yeah,
Well, you guys are leaving him a good keepsake too. So as he gets older, he gets to see his parents, what his parents' interests were, some of the day-to-day stuff as you talk about an illness or other things that were going on. These are going to be things that when he has kids, he gets to hold on to this kind of stuff where, depending on your age or your generation, there's not the internet around of having your parents that could have been on a YouTube show and have footage of them speaking, talking about their likes and dislikes. So no matter what he says right now, at some point in time in his life, he's going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that.
I hadn't either, until you just said that. I'd never thought about it like that. But yeah, that is quite cool.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. So he better start appreciating soon. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I bet you, if YouTube picks up or whatever, and we're millionaires, I bet he won't complain about the money being spent on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure about millionaires.
No, I know. I'm living in a dream world.
We are on YouTube now. We are monetized, so we do get.
Oh, nice.
So that it's sort of a double-edged sword a little bit, in the sense of it's nice because you get a little. I mean, when I say little bit of money, it is very much a little bit of money, but it's something and it's nice. But at the same time, that now means whenever you click one of our videos, there's an advert at the start of the video, and there's an advert in the middle and stuff like that, which is sort of. It's that sort of like a badge of sort of like, oh, you've made it because you've got adverts on your video. But at the same time, that's quite annoying that you've now got adverts on your video, so it's one of them. Like Sean says, if we were making, if it does get bigger and bigger and bigger and we do make a bit more, then I'm sure I won't mind that there's adverts on the video.
No.
How quick did that come? Because I'm just starting out, so I'm nowhere near monetization. But for you all, how was that process?
It took a while.
It was about a year and about 13 months, I would say, for us to get over the 1,000 subscriber mark.
Yeah.
It was a very slow process.
I think in the Wrexham world, I think you'd probably class us as maybe one of the uncool podcasts. So you have
really?
Yeah, I would say so.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say so, because
I disagree.
No. No, but let me explain what I mean. Because like I sort of alluded to before, it's very much, although you see a lot more women at the football now, you do. It's still very much a male-dominated sort of sport, isn't it? You go to a football game, 90% of the people there are men.
Yeah.
If not more than that. And what men want is they want to watch YouTube videos with other men talking about football because they've been going to the football for 30 or 40 years. That's, whether the men who watch these videos will admit that or not. That tends to be the case. Would you, we have a program in the UK called Match of the Day, which is on every Saturday evening. It shows highlights of the Premier League, and, what do you want on there? Do you want all the pundits on there are ex-players, and the presenter's an ex-player, and they've been around the game for 40 years or 50 years or whatever, and they talk about it, they talk about the tactics. You know, people tune in for that. You know, if somebody who was brand new to football was a pundit on that show, there'd be uproar, and people would say, oh, we don't want this, we want the ex-players on, and we want all this. So that's what I mean when I say we're probably in the uncool bracket, because of you. You make us uncool. No, I'm joking. No. But it's, you know, because ours is just, it's different. It's a little bit more niche in the sense of, you know, when we try and bring people on a journey, we try and teach people as we're going along. You know, it's not just about that we are the Bible of football, we are the Bible of Wrexham, we know everything, this is how it should be done. You know, we talk about things, and Sian evolves as a fan, and not just of Wrexham, but as a football as well. So for us, it was quite a slow growth, I would say, because of that reason. I would say, you know, it is a little bit more niche, and we were drawing people along slowly. But yeah, just over a year, I think, and we got to that sort of milestone. It's really nice when you get there, though. It is really nice, you know, because you have these strange bursts of subscribers where you'll have a 2-3 week period where we would pick up 3 subscribers, and you're going, oh God, it's going to take forever. And then you'd go through another couple of weeks where you'd pick up 150, you know, and it was just so odd the way that, you know, and we didn't feel like we were doing anything different. No. It would just come out of nowhere. But the really slow periods for adding subscribers were always when we were at a milestone. So when we were nearly at 500, or when we were nearly at 1,000, it felt excruciatingly slow, and it just felt like we were never going to get there. So when we got there, it was just like, right, okay, that's done.
We're there now.
We're there. Let's move on, and let's build and get more.
Did you guys celebrate after you hit 500, 1,000, or anything?
Not celebrate as such. We were very excited. And then we high-fived, but...
We did high-five.
But there was no sort of, like, big celebration. Not even for 1,000, really. It was more relief than celebration, I think. Because it felt like a bit... I think when you start doing this, you do it for fun. And you do it because you want to do it, and you really enjoy doing it. And then you get to almost at a milestone, like 1,000, and all of a sudden it feels like a bit of a monkey on your back, like you're not doing it for fun anymore, like it's a little bit of a grind because you're just getting there to that 1,000. So getting past that 1,000 subscribers, it just feels like a bit of a weight lifts off, and you can sort of go back to enjoying it again, because it doesn't matter, because let's be honest, the next real milestone after 1,000 is 10,000. It's not 2,000. It's not, you know, it's not 5. It's 10. So we can just go, right. We can forget about that.
We're looking at about 10 years to get to 10,000. Yeah, 1,000 a year.
Yeah, that'll do. But I think it, you know, when I say it wasn't enjoyable, it was. But I just think between that 970 mark and 1,000. Just feel like you're constantly looking at subscriber counts.
I think you doubt yourself as well. I think when you're kind of having a lull in the subscribers or views or whatever, you kind of think, are we actually good at this? Or are we just wasting our time? But yeah, I think you do doubt yourself, but I think we've...
You go through periods, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Where you'll get videos that do extremely, or podcasts that do extremely well. Like, you know, loads of views or listens or whatever it might be. And then out of the blue, you think, right, okay, we're moving now. And then you'll have a couple of videos like that. And then you'll get one that does nothing. And then you're like, why is this one different to that one? And it's so hard to work out sometimes. And I think, to be fair, I've stopped trying to second guess why. I've just sort of gone, it is what it is. I don't
think you can second guess the algorithm, can you? You know.
No, I do my best to set it up in the way that I has the best chance. But sometimes you just go, look, it is what it is. You know, if you just got to move on with your life.
I think as long as we enjoy it.
Yeah. I think
that, you know, we will continue to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that will be for a long time yet, because we both we both love doing it, don't we?
Well, like we say, we started the second one, so
Yeah.
we must like it, yeah.
Yeah, well, and you do have that unique perspective, like you said, that thing that separates you from most of the other voices in there. I definitely can understand the American perspective or international perspective, Australian, American, Canadian. Our women's game in a lot of regards is higher than our men's game. And so if we're football fans, we're already primed into not only thinking, okay, this is an even field and it's not taboo to support women or the women's game, but it's also just, it's normal. And to see a woman talking about football is not abnormal to us, because a lot of our pundits are ex-women's national players, U.S. women's national players. So we are used to hearing the voice, trusting the voice, and it's not a weird thing. And so it is a little bit weird when we're following Wrexham sports and then we hear, whether they're sexist comments or it's the boys club or the gatekeeping, it's weird for us because we, look at our watch and wait, what year is this? This is 2023 and people are still acting like this. And so I can definitely understand where there's a lot of embrace from the international fans for you guys. Has that been any type of shock that you have some type of, celebrity and stardom? You have actual genuine fans. Like you said, you have people that will double listen, double watch, and I'm sure they reach out to you and send you messages and all that.
Yeah, we have got quite a few people that message us week in, week out.
Yeah.
We've got people that will message us after a game. I think it was a bit of a shock when we started getting people listening in like Dubai and Cambodia and obviously USA and Australia and Canada and some really obscure places. And at one point we would try, when we first started it, our goal is to get is it 52 or 50 states?
States?
Is it 50 or 52?
50.
50 states. I can never remember if it's 52 or 50 states. Anyway, we were trying to get the 50 states in America, and we got them quite quickly, didn't we? But there was one state, which was it South or North Dakota? North Dakota. It took ages, but when we got it, it was like, oh my God, we've got people have listened to us in all 50 states of the US now. So that was a nice thing. But I think people saying that, when I go to work and stuff, people call us like famouses, don't they?
Yeah.
They call us, I'll hear the famouses. But you're like, I find that a bit weird. I bet you love it because you love being centre of attention.
The strange thing about it is, I think when you do something like this, people recognise you a lot, but ultimately you're just sat in a room on your own doing it, aren't you? There's just we don't do it in front of an audience. There's nobody there watching us yet. Yes. So for us, it's a little bit strange that people do recognise us because. It sounds so stupid, but it's almost as if you forget that it goes out over the internet to people because you're just sat in a room on your own recording something, so it can be a little bit strange. But I think the weirdest thing for us was when Wrexham played, where was it? They had the pop-up turf when they played in America. Was it in North Carolina or
Possibly.
San Diego, I think it was.
They had it at each location, so it could have been.
I don't know which one it was, but they had the pop-up turf, and then behind the bar, they had a framed photograph of our logo behind the bar. And that was one of the weirdest things, because we were like, how has that ended up there?
It was pretty awesome though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Wait, how did it end up there?
And for things like it's little things like that sort of go, oh my God, we have got people who listen all over the place, and it's nice. It is nice because there's I know from looking at sort of like analytics and things like that there are some people who watch our videos with subtitles on, so clearly don't even, speak English, and that they've got subtitles in there.
Or they just don't understand us.
Or they just don't understand us. That's a good point, actually. But yeah, so that it's odd, and we've had some odd countries, not odd, not that the countries themselves are odd, but we've
obscure.
Just like places that you. And it sounds weird sometimes, but they're not countries where you sort of go, oh yeah, I bet there's loads of people listening to podcasts in that country. Like sort of like Libya and like Iraq and Iran and sort of places like that. And you think, I'm sure plenty of people listen to podcasts in them countries, but they didn't sort of strike you as a country where maybe they're sort of downloading podcasts quite regularly. But we've had quite a few listens in them sort of countries. I think it opens your eyes to the world a little bit as well, because you sort of, I don't know a lot about, I know names of countries. That's about where it ends for me. And I think you just start learning about sort of countries as well, don't you? And we'd usually do shout outs and going, oh, if this is you that listens in this country, get in touch. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. They just, they just want to be, kept out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really nice. Really nice, yeah.
Well, and that's a big accomplishment or a badge of pride to wear, is that even in some of these countries where women's rights may not be on the forefront, and where a woman on screen may not be acceptable or a norm, that you have people who are embracing your show and watching your show and or listening to your show. And that says something too, that you're crossing barriers and that you're maybe paving some way for some people to come, future generations behind you. You're doing some of the first work that other people will get to come down the trail that you guys have already cut aside. Is that any bit of pressure that you ever feel? I know you said some conscious dissonance of, between there being an audience and processing that, but is there ever any pressure that you feel of, hey, we need to present it this way? Or
100%. We may, there's quite a lot of podcasts out there that do have swearing in it, and, that it's not aimed at all ages. It's aimed for obviously adults. But we made the conscious decision, because we have got a son, we have got an 11-year-old, and we thought, there's a possibility that he might listen to it. So we made the conscious effort not to swear, not to use, I would never use racist or homophobic or any kind of derogatory language anyway, because we're just not that type of, we're not like that at all, are we? We're not those type of people. So yeah, I don't think it's a pressure, because you kind of, like before you, like another point that you've just made again there, I didn't really think about it like that.
No.
I didn't think that we would be, we would be kind of breaking barriers in countries like that, because you just don't think, do you? Because you're so engrossed in your own culture, and obviously there are different cultures in the UK. But yeah, you just don't think. I didn't ever for 1 minute think that we were breaking barriers.
No,
but
I think we've always tried to look at it as it is fun, and we do it because it's fun. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, look, we're not being listened to by millions or even tens of thousands of people. But we made the conscious decision to treat it professionally, as if we were being listened to by tens of thousands or millions. Just be professional. And there's times when people make comments online, or people reply to our posts and say certain things or whatever. Sometimes rival fans might say things, and you just want to snap back and you want to say something. But we've taken that conscious decision that Ryan might want to snap back, or Siân might want to snap back. But when we're on Twitter or we're on Facebook, we're not Ryan and we're not Siân. We are me, the wife, from Wrexham AFC, and that is our brand. And we can't really be doing anything to damage the brand. If you wanted to jump on your own account and put your point across, then fine. But we've just always tried to be professional about it. Have fun, but just don't push it
Don't take it too
far, and just try and be professional, because I think, and it's not about, because you don't know where things are going to go, and you don't know where this is going to take you, because you always hear about famous people who are getting pulled up on tweets they made 10 years ago. And, if in 10 years we've got 5, 10, 15, 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we have a lot of people listening, and then out of nowhere somebody pulls a tweet at you of a really horrible reply that we did to a rival fan, and they just start sort of posting. You just don't know. You don't know. In 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, we might not be doing this anymore. We might be doing something else. But you just want to, we've always tried to be professional and just go, look, just water off a duck's back, let that slide, and let's treat it professionally.
Yeah.
I'd say
so.
Yeah, that's it. That's beautiful. Because what else can you do? And it sounds like both of you have just an amazing amount of clarity and good strength on your shoulders, on your head, that you're not going to be consumed by that negative side of social media or the comment section. Was that ever a fear of, what are people going to write? What are people going to put after we release this episode or that episode?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're quite different in that respect, where you just like, it does sometimes just, you see a comment and it's like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. But then for me, I'm the type of I'm a people pleaser. So if somebody says something, derogatory about me or whatever about my family, I'm like, I want to bite back, because I want everybody to like me, even though I know that's completely irrational, because not everybody's gonna like you. But yeah, I think when you do see comments like that, and especially when they're having a dig at something that's not even related to podcast or the sport or anything like that,
personal,
a personal attack at you think, but then you remember that these people see you on a camera, or they listen to you. They don't know, although we are really authentic on our podcast. We are just us. Yeah. But the people who write these silly comments, they don't know us.
I think you get a much reduced sort of version, but I think you get an insight into what very famous people get all the time, because you will get. I'm not very big on celebrities, but if you've got somebody who's really famous, I dare say they get thousands of negative comments.
Look at Rob and Ryan; they get loads, don't they? From rival fans, they get loads, terrible comments,
thousands and thousands of negative comments, probably on a daily basis. People will get. We get the odd negative comment now and then, but I think it just reminds you. You get that sort of insight of what it must be like to be in the actual public eye, where we're getting this one comment and the people are commenting on stuff that you're like, well, you don't even know me. Why are you making this go? And stuff like that. But then you sort of realize, oh my God, if you are actually famous, like, properly famous on the TV, in films or in music or whatever it might be, it must be horrendous. No wonder so many famous people just don't run their own Twitter accounts. They must just hand them off to someone and go, you deal with that, because I can't be doing with any of this.
And so this is for everybody out there that knows, they run their own Twitter account right now, but when they hit 10,000 subscribers, gone. They're not. Is there any plans for anything that you might change as safeguards for, like, as Wrexham moves up in different leagues, there's going to be more eyes on the team, which just by percentage and probability, that's going to be more eyes and ears onto you all. Is there anything that you guys have thought about, if you have X amount of eyes on you, that you would do differently, or how you would approach it?
There's one thing. There is one thing which sort of troubles us a little bit at the moment. And we wouldn't change anything about the podcast. We have got plans to develop the YouTube side of things a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Can't really go into too much detail about that, but just to try and sort of make it a little bit fresher and do things a little bit differently. There's some plans further down the line to sort of change things up a little bit. Nothing major. People don't have to panic. It's still going to be us. It's still going to be very similar. But I think one thing troubles us at the moment, and that is currently our logo. That's one thing that sort of we're a little bit worried about at the moment, because our logo has been our logo since we started, and we didn't really put loads of thought into it. It was done really simply. It's the outline of a man, the outline of a woman, the Wrexham badge, and it's got me, the wife, and Wrexham AFC. It was simple, wasn't it? Really simple. The problem with it is we're waiting for a little letter through the door because we're using the Wrexham badge that they're going to go, you can't use this anymore. Because we've had lots of people, other YouTubers and podcasters have had certain things, somebody that we know is no longer allowed to film within the racecourse anymore. Obviously, we had a big Paul Mullin mural that was done in town on the side of the Fat Boar. And they asked if they could use the Wrexham badge on his shirt on that mural, and the club declined and said, no, you're not allowed to use it, so they had to do something else. So we're just waiting, but we're thinking maybe we're not big enough, maybe that they don't really know us.
We're going under the radar.
We're going under the radar, but we are sort of expecting. And if we'd have thought far enough ahead, we would never have put the Wrexham badge on our logo, because it just felt really right. It was me, the wife, Wrexham AFC, and it just all fit, and we didn't give it much thought. But now
we do have a contingency logo.
We have a contingency logo.
We do.
I'd be really aggrieved to change it, because it's been our logo from day one.
Yeah. But when we do our podcast, though, and we obviously put it out on YouTube, you can't actually see where the position that we're sitting in. You can't actually see the badge.
No, but our intro and outro have got it on, haven't they? So it would, I think the biggest nightmare for us would be if they said, right, you can't use that logo moving forward, but you were going to have to remove it from the 70 videos that you have already posted. That would be an absolute nightmare. Ooh. So yeah,
it would be a nightmare for you, not
me.
It
would be a nightmare for me
because I don't do any of the editing.
Yes, so that would be. Yeah, I don't know. That it's a worry at the moment, but I think it might be a case of, we've used all the same elements and designed a new logo, just removing the badge. So that might really, we should be using that logo now to preempt anything happening, in case it comes up. But at the same time, like I say, I just feel I'm so attached to that logo because we've had it since the beginning that I just don't want to get rid of it. But
I think you saying there's only one thing.
Yeah.
I think there is another. If more eyes do come onto us and our podcast, I think another thing that we would be very conscious about is making sure that our son isn't, if we do get like derogatory comments or horrible comments about us or whatever, that he is kind of completely, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disconnected or separated.
Yeah, he's not aware of those comments, because I think even though he knows who we are as people, obviously we're his mum and dad and he's known us all his life, but I think it's really important as parents to ensure that side of things doesn't kind of drip feed into your to your son or your daughter or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I think that's probably more of a worry than a badge on a flag.
No, but I think to be fair though, we've had a lot of viewers, we've had a lot of listeners, and nothing like that has happened thus far, has it?
No.
And that's not to say anything bad wouldn't happen in the future, but it hasn't happened up to now. So I don't think it's at this moment in time.
It's not a worry at all at the moment. No. But like you said, if it does like kind of get to this big conglomerate brand, you don't know, do you?
We'll be too busy on the red carpet sipping champagne.
But yeah,
on the
I think,
Riviera.
yeah. God, that would be so nice. I think he's our number one priority in anything that we do. So to kind of make that's one thing that we would keep him clear of, and keep that innocence a little bit longer, I think.
I think for me, I'll be honest. We've never really talked about this, to be honest.
We haven't, actually.
No, what I'm about to say.
Oh, right, okay.
One of the reasons I was really interested in starting the podcast was I've always been quite interested in a broadcasting career in some sort of capacity. So I know I'm not being horrible, but I always saw this as it could be quite a good stepping stone into something a bit better. That sounds awful. But
what, with or without me?
Without.
Oh
no!
No, but you never know, dear. You never know where it goes. I do quite like broadcasting and that side of things. So if anything more came of it, I'd be quite excited by that prospect of doing something else. If it was with you, great. If it wasn't, then that's the way it is.
I'll just carry on working, doing my job that I'm doing now. Yeah.
Well, it's good that you dropped that bomb on her right now. Just so you know. I had you penciled in as co-host without a name for the 2 seasons. But I mean, who knows what can happen, because as the club grows, it could be something where your badge issue isn't even an issue, that the club, invites you into the fold, or, gives permission to use the crest because of what you're doing for the club. In many ways, you guys are creating even more fans and more people that are going to be showing up to games, buying merchandise, shopping on the online shop, and going to Wrexham and spending their tourism dollars there. Like you guys are doing a service and are providing value, not only to the community, but to the club. And so in many regards, as businesses work however they do work, I could clearly see the value and you guys being invited in. Now, some of corporations' decisions on who they allow in and what they do is, a whole nother discussion. But you guys are doing something, like you said, you approached it in a professional way. So you're not controversial people that the club would go, oh, we need to make sure that they're not representing the club, and that we're not co-signing and condoning controversial figures. You guys are, for all argument's sake, you guys are very vanilla, you don't offend the senses. And if anything, you offer something that is very attractive to what the club is trying to do, which is more female presence and, putting more of a spotlight on the women's side of the game, the women's perspective of the game. And so, I mean, I have no connections into the club at all, but if I did have connections, it's a no-brainer. I would include you guys into the fold, and there would be a non-issue. And
but we're doing all of that, and we're doing it for free. We're doing it. We're not getting paid by the club to promote them and to raise awareness and bring people along for the journey. We're doing all that for free, and we're doing that. We're using our time to do that. And we're not that we never started doing this because we wanted something out of it. We did it, for purely selfish reasons, in the sense of we're doing it because it was fun and we wanted a hobby and we wanted, something to do together, because our interests are so different. I mean, everything. The only one thing that I think we have in common, apart from the podcast, is we quite like police dramas on TV. That is the one thing. The one thing. We do not like the same music. We do not like the same food. Siân doesn't drink. I like to drink. We are literally. We could not be more opposite, could we? No. So and that was always fine for us. We didn't mind that. It was never really an issue. But at the same time, it was always a case of, let's do something that we both enjoy, and we do that together. And it was always quite selfish reasons we started.
But if the club want to get us into their fold, we will not say no.
I will quit my job tomorrow. If the club want to hire me and pay me, yeah, that is fine.
You heard it here first. They are available. Stop dragging your feet. If it's Fleur, Humphrey, whoever it is that's dragging your feet, I'm calling you out right now. Stop dragging your feet. Bring them on. Well, with that too, you guys are parents, obviously in the traditional sense, but you're also like the parents creators of another child or two children now of the two different podcasts. And you have to care for that. You have to nurture it. You have to be a role model and lead by example. And you can't dig down into the trenches because there are eyes on you that will, respond in accordance with everything that you guys have done so far and all of the eyes that you've had on you. Is there anything that you would give advice to, I don't know if it's just men or boys or girls that are looking to put themselves out there in the way that you guys did, whether it's through Wrexham, whether it's through other projects? You mentioned your son wanted to do a YouTube before. You guys have had, I would say you guys are successful. So is there some tips or tricks or advice you would pass along?
For me, it's always a case of, I think if you look around YouTube these days, you can pick out hundreds and thousands of YouTubers that are out there, and generally when you watch their video you can tell that they're playing a character, and you don't always see the genuine people. I mean, our son watches lots of YouTubers, just to pick out one, Mr. Beast, let's say, for example, that our son watches. Now, I've seen interviews with Jimmy, and Jimmy and Mr. Beast seem like very different people in the sense of I've seen the way that he talks during his interviews, and I've seen the way that he talks on his YouTube videos. My advice would be, sorry, I'm going round in a big circle, but my advice would be, if you're going to start, just be you and be authentic, and just there is no need to be a character. A lot of people, I think, would be quite insecure about starting something like this, and I think they would always feel that they have to be somebody else. And I think my best advice would be just be confident in who you are, because I think a lot of people assume no one will want to listen to me talk. But you'd be surprised. People do. They want to hear. So just be yourself and be authentic and be genuine. And the one thing I was quite clear about before we started this, as I said, it was Sian's idea to start the podcast. And I looked around at what other podcasts, Wrexham podcasts they were, and how long they've been going. And I downloaded an episode of, not going to mention, another Wrexham podcast, and I pressed play and I listened to 4 seconds and I stopped, and I didn't listen to any more. And the reason I stopped was I thought, I don't want to know what they do. I don't want to know what their format is. I don't want to know how they structure their episodes. I don't want to know any of that. I don't want to know what they talk about, because, and then the same sort of thing, not just Wrexham podcasts, sport podcasts in general. I didn't listen to anything. I just went with the format that I thought would work best for us. And I think that's another really good bit of advice, is just structure your podcast however you want to do it, and or your YouTube channel, whatever. Just structure it. Don't look at other people and go, I like that, I'm going to copy that, because guess what? That's been done. And I'm not saying what we're doing hasn't been done before, but I'm comfortable in the knowledge that if it has been done before, I haven't seen it and I haven't copied it off anybody. It's just literally, it's come from us, and it's the way that we wanted to do things. And I think originality is the key when you're doing things like this, because you could quite easily go on YouTube or download 30, 40 podcasts, make 100 pages of notes, and take elements of all these different things and put them into what you do. But who wants to be like somebody else? That's boring. You just be you, go out, be you, and just enjoy being you. And I think that really promotes your own mental health. That if you're being you and somebody likes you, for being you, and you're always going to get the negative stuff, but if there are people out there that enjoy it and like it, then surely that's a big boost for you as well, because that's come from you, inside you.
I think another thing that I think is very important if you're thinking of starting up, you need to have kind of full focus. This is what you want to do. You need to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're telling the people that are watching you or listening to you or whatever that you're going to get another episode on this day, on this time, every single week without fail, then you have to that's what you have to give people, because people get annoyed if you're not so much annoyed, but people get fed up with, they said they were going to put an episode out, because there's plenty of podcasts that are out there at the moment where they're all in for like a couple of months, and then they sort of like get bored, and then they go and do something else. And then when it kind of starts picking up again, it's like, oh yeah, I'll start doing that again. It's like, well, you need to be there for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And consistency is a massive part of it as well.
We said that at the start, didn't we? We said, look, if we're going to do this, it's consistency. We do it, and we record at this time every week. We release at this time every single week, because people that do listen every week know now that Monday, 6:00, our episode comes out, be it the podcast, be it on YouTube, but it doesn't matter. 6:00 on a Monday, that is when it comes out, and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And because that was a big thing for me, was consistency. Because you, like Siân says, you do see, people who go, right, I'll release an episode on Tuesday, on Friday, on Saturday, and that's fine if people do that. But for me, it was always a case of, I think it helps bring your audience along with you. If it maybe it's a bit old fashioned in the sense of I'm of that age where I didn't have the internet when I was a kid. Yes, I am that old. Where it was,
when we did get it, it was dial up.
Yeah, I know. And then, but it was like, if you wanted to watch your favourite show, it was on at this time on this day, and if you missed it, you missed it. It was gone, and it was always that excitement building up to 7:00 on Thursday because Top of the Pops was on, or Saturday at this time because Match of the Day was on, or whatever it was. It was always that excitement and that build up to that time. And maybe that is me being a bit old fashioned, but I think that was I think in the world that we live in, to be able to build that excitement towards a time and day of every week, I think that's quite a big thing.
Consistency is also something that we're trying to instill in Alfie, our 11-year-old, because he's very much like he wants results there and then, because he's got his TikTok and things like that, and if a video isn't doing well, then he'll just go, I'm going to delete it. If he hasn't got like 10,000 views on it, he's like, I'm deleting it. And we try to explain to him, you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
You have to keep posting, and it's hard work, but you do have to keep posting consistently. You've got to be, the person that people see, and your name has to be remembered. And, so we are trying to instill that into Alfie, and consistency is, I think, aside from what you said, I think consistency is key to success.
So. Key to success.
I think consistency with anything that you do, whether it be exercise, dieting, quitting smoking or quitting drinking or whatever, if you're consistent, you'll be successful. So I think,
we've said the word consistent way too many times.
I like the word consistent.
I know.
But it's been consistent in which it's been mentioned. So
yes,
it's on brand. It's on brand.
It's consistently been consistently said.
Yeah. What you talked a lot about, being this role model for your child, and setting the example and then instilling these values. What do your families feel about you all being involved on the podcast? Do they know Is this a thing that's talked about?
Yeah, it's like like Ryan's parents, they will listen to it religiously on a Monday. They
always comment as well.
Always comment.
Really?
Anonymously though, so that people don't know that it's Ryan's dad.
Not anonymously. There's no way that people would know they were my parents from the names that they've got on YouTube. So they always comment. Yeah.
I think my parents, I think they do listen. Maybe not as consistently. The word again. Maybe not as much as Ryan's parents do, but I think my dad has started to come to a few more games with us. So he's starting to. We're kind of having conversations about football where we wouldn't usually. Like, he'll message me after a game. Like, for example, the Notts County game, he said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that," and then we'll have a conversation about it, which we wouldn't have done usually. So I think our families are proud of what we've achieved.
Yeah.
Whether they'd admit it or not, or whether they would say it or not. I mean, I don't think my parents aren't really vocal when they, it comes to saying that they're proud, but you kind of know that they're proud. And I think they enjoy hearing we had our photo taken with Ryan Reynolds, or we've had an interview with da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And, if we ask them to share our posts or share our episodes or whatever, they will do it. They're 100%, behind us, aren't they?
Yeah.
I just think they want to have, a nice nursing home when they get old. The money that we're going to make.
They're doing the investment right now.
Yeah. Or all the money that they've given to us over the years, that we'll be able to give it back to them.
Maybe. I think that's more likely.
Yeah, I think our families are proud of us and that they do support us, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like in some ways you have been able to get closer in relationships, or to forge new ground with the relationships just from Wrexham doing the podcast, or combination of the both, or?
Yeah, I think you've definitely got closer to your dad, haven't you?
Because it's that whole the more time you spend with people, that's just a natural thing, isn't it? And it's a nice.
You either start to like them or you really start to hate them.
Yeah, I suppose.
It can go one way or the other, can't it?
That is a good point. Yeah. Well, we are like a little unit. When we go to the games, there's like Sian's brother comes with us. My dad comes with us, and then sort of Sian's brother alternates with your dad sometimes, or it's a little bit. And Sian's brother's kids have got season tickets, but they don't always come. So sometimes their ticket gets upgraded to an adult's, and then Sian's dad comes as well. So it's a nice little group that we have going to games. And we could try and get there early as well, because I like to have a drink before the games as well. A couple of beers before the games, and it's nice because you stand around talking, and and you see the team news coming in, and you talk about the game, and and then you get the odd few people. Like, the funny thing is, we get where we sit in front of us are right at the front. There's the general sale tickets right in front of us. So we get quite a few sort of Americans and Canadians sitting down in front of us where we are. And my dad is always, he'll always say to them, "Oh, where are you from? Where in America are you from?" That's my dad's first question. Where are you from? Question 2 is always, have you listened to my son's podcast?
Nice.
That is always question 2.
Nice.
He does a podcast. Have you listened? And always, I can guarantee it. So yeah, that like you say, it's nice. It is
nice.
Have
you had your pictures taken in front of your family, like when you're to the games? Have people stopped you? And
we have had our pictures taken, but not while they've been there, have we? Because we were out. I tell you what we tend to do is we'll do predictions, and before the game, so we'll do like little TikTok videos or something like that. And what we used to do them down by the pitch. So we go down by the pitch, roughly where we sit. We'd sit on the barrier and pitch behind us. Team warming up behind us, wherever may be, and we used to record our videos. And then we used to, while we were recording our videos, we used to be able to see people sort of watching us and things like that. And then people would come over and ask for pictures. But at that time, when people asked for pictures, our families are usually by the bar. So it's not happened as yet. Nobody has asked us for a selfie while they have been with us.
They did in front of Alfie, because he took the picture,
Yes,
didn't he?
he did. He took the picture. Yes.
So yeah, there was a guy who came up to me and goes, oh no, he said, my friend is a really big fan of yours.
Yeah.
Let me take a selfie so I can send it to him.
Yeah.
But it was just really awkward to take a selfie, so we asked Alfie to take the picture. So
yes.
In front of Alfie we have, but as for my parents and your dad, it's no, not yet.
Not yet.
I'm sure there'll be time.
Wait until, more seasons come out, and the more that goes on, it's just going to increase. There's so much that you guys have already done and involved in. And before we jump off of here, you don't have to say anything at all. There's no pressure on it. But is there any episodes that are coming up, or anything that, whether it be your main podcast or the second podcast, is there any projects that you guys want to talk about, or to let people know to tune into, to keep an eye and an ear out for?
There's, we obviously do our weekly stuff. We do have the odd interview that pop up. Like I say, we interviewed Neil Roberts quite recently, and that was an amazing interview. We delved quite heavily into mental health in the professional game, and we talked quite a lot about that. That was episode 68. Okay. That was brilliant. The weird thing about because we talked about consistency earlier, because our audience know we post on a Monday at 6:00, we always try and promote interviews, but the interviews are always released at a different time. They're usually released on the following day. The interviews never get the exposure that the normal episodes get, for whatever reason. Probably because people are just so fixed on that day. So maybe consistency is a bit of a problem. I don't know, but that was a big episode for us. Like I say, there are some things that are coming up that we just got.
There's a few things that few boxes that we need to tick and things before.
There's a couple of things that, like I say, we're trying to diversify the podcast a little bit. We're trying to keep the core of the podcast together, but there are a few sort of like features, I suppose you'd call them, within the podcast, which are not going to be limited to the studio in the way that we are for the podcast that we're currently doing. So there's a couple of things that out. Sorry, it sounds so cryptic, but we haven't really finalized the details of the way that we're going to do it as yet. So there's a few things out in the field that we're hoping to do.
Not literally in the field.
Not in a field, no. But there's a few things that we're going to do that we're hoping to tie into the podcast. I think, that's something. We've done the podcast for 18 months, not quite 18 months, but, I think you always worry that it's going to stagnate.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing week in, week out. So we're just trying to look at other avenues, I think, at the moment. So that is possibly one of the vaguest answers to any question ever. But yes, things are coming.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. Yeah.
As they say.
No, that's so good, because I tried to get you to fall into the trap of committing to something that you hadn't nailed in yet, and saying, exclusively you were going to be doing this, and then me follow up in a month and go, hey, whatever happened to? Blah, blah, blah.
I know,
Calling us out on it.
The seasoned vets that you are, you saw it coming a mile away. You're like, you know what?
We've
got to keep the answers vague.
Person that tells us what to say.
We've got an earpiece in. Someone whispering to me going, don't answer that, don't answer.
No dates, no proper nouns.
No.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your time, teaching us how to Wrexham, teaching me how to Wrexham, but also teaching me how to the wife in Wrexham, how to do that as well. And I mean, I'm a big fan. I've been tuning in for a while, so I hopefully speak for a lot of people who say yes to all of what you're doing, to keep it going, and can't wait to see the next thing that you guys turn out and where you guys take this. So thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And up the town.
Up the town.
Time.
Take care, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.